Welcome back to my studio. My name is Monica, and today we're going to be talking about journals. And this, what we're going to be doing today is making a trip journal as opposed to a travel journal. And I'll explain why this kind of popped into my head. I'm going on a short vacation. I'll be gone for about 11 days. It's just me and my best friend, and she lives in the South. By the time you watch this, I'll be back. So, um, I don't wanna take a big journal with me, basically. I don't know if you've ever tried to journal while you're on vacation, but I find that usually we're so busy during the day, and you're either with your family or a group of friends, and nobody wants to sit with you on a bench for an hour while you sketch a scene. They're gonna leave you behind. Um, the vacations that I've been on, they're usually pretty fast paced and we're doing stuff every day. And there just really isn't a whole lot of time during the day to do much of anything. So I know that I could come back to my hotel room or wherever you're staying and journal at night. And by that time, I'm usually so exhausted that I'm not feeling it. So what's the answer to all of this? I think bringing big sketchbooks. Um, I think it's pressure. I'm not very good at. I'll get overwhelmed, and not do anything at all instead of doing a little bit of something. So I have dedicated sketchbooks for certain things. So you may have watched me paint the cover for this last week or a few weeks ago here on YouTube. This is a dedicated journal for a membership that I belong to, and we do nothing but animals. So I don't want to take this with me. I have my own nature journal, and I have other journals that I've made, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for. Um, Simply because the paper in it uh, is not it's not going to work for what I want to do. And I know I'm not going to be doing a lot of watercolor, but I also know that, like with this one, I don't want these stained looking pages for my trip to the South. I did make this journal, and all of these that you see here I've made, except for obviously this one. I just painted the cover on this. But I don't want to take anything this big, and I don't want to take anything that's bulky. I want something that is specific for the trip that I'm on. So I'll be gone for about 10 days. Maybe I want to take something small, um, that's like 20 pages, maybe. And I found this on my shelf. And I guess I had intended to, this is one of those accordion journals. It doesn't have a cover on it or a back. And that would be really easy for me to finish this off and take it. But I am not really all that interested in painting heavily with watercolor while I'm on this trip. So I'm going to forego this one. And I found this. I bought this at a store. This came off easy enough to fix. But this would be something I could take, but it's really kind of flimsy paper and it won't hold up to any sort of watercolor wash that I put on it, I don't think. Um, it would hold up to drawing, obviously, um, but it's too small. And that'll get lost in the bottom of my purse and I'll never be able to find it again. So I have my nature journal here. This is mine that I've been, keeping, and things I still have to finish, which I may do here. Um, if that's something you'd be interested in seeing. So I had this, and this is dedicated, but this is a good size. That's what I like about this. So I started going through all of my papers and trying to figure out what it is exactly that I want to make. This is made real quick with eco print paper that I made a couple of years ago, and I have a ton of it left. And it comes out really beautiful, and you can use it for, um, making bookmarks or journal covers. And I deckled all of the edges, most of the edges of my watercolor paper, and it's good, but it's still a little bit bulkier than I would like. And something else to mention: when you use cold press paper, if you plan on taking a pen or you want to do some sketching, it's really not fun to sketch on cold press paper. It's rough and I don't particularly. It's my personal preference, but I'm not a fan of trying to sketch on a rough textured paper. So, with all of that said, I decided what I wanted to do. I have this Paul Rubens watercolor block, and it's hot press paper, and it is 100% cotton. So, what I decided to do was to rip out a few sheets, and if I fold this in half, that'll be the size of my journal. And I thought this is just really perfect. And, it's got a nice smooth texture to it, and I'm going to do about 3 sheets of this. And I'm also going to add in some of this Strathmore. I actually have another book that it's tan, but it is sketch paper and it's not heavy at all. And then I'm going to add some of the toned gray. And I'll show you why I like this toned paper so much, because you can really create some drawings. And being able to sketch in graphite and then add some white onto the paper is probably like one of my favorite things. Um, it's incredibly rewarding when you add that white in. And there was another one I wanted to show you that was like this one. With the moon, it just kind of brings it to life, and it seems more magical. And so I definitely want to add in maybe 3 pieces of this. And I won't necessarily watercolor on this. I'll bring a few colored pencils, definitely a white colored pencil, and maybe I'll bring some of my matte graphite pencils. So I initially started out with this, and this mixed media paper. I like it, but it's kind of stiff and it's a little bit heavy, and the sheets are really small. And this would make another really cute kind of quick journal. But like I said, the pages are too small, so I'm not going to go with that. So I have all my paper here, and what I'm going to do is I am going to cut down. I'm going to cut down these pieces of paper to match this. And I also grabbed a couple of sheets of Bristol paper. And this is a heavier weight drawing paper. It's really beautifully, it's smooth. And I can add a little bit of watercolor on this too and get away with it. So I'm going to get these cut down and folded. When I come back, we're gonna put this journal together. Okay, I have all of my papers nice and folded, and you can decide how you want to put your papers together. If you want to mix this up and keep these really random, I'm going to keep mine all together like this: gray papers together, tan papers together, and I've got the watercolor paper, and then I have this piece of Bristol paper on the outside. And I'm debating right now because the Bristol paper, along with the watercolor paper, is really thick. If I want to maybe just keep this Bristol paper, um, or maybe a piece of the watercolor paper as the front and back cover, because what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of down and dirty sewing here. I'm going to punch 3 holes, and then we're going to sew this journal together, and that's going to be it. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I have a cover that's decorated. And I think actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I have my eco print paper here, and uh, maybe I'll use a piece of this instead. And I think I've got enough to cover this. Or I have some other paper that I've done practice lessons on. I'm going to go and scrounge for some of that, and then I think we're going to go ahead and sew this together. Okay, so I am back from rifling around in my papers, and when I came across this, and you might remember this from a few weeks ago when we did these intuitive watercolors. This was the one that we did, and these are the ones that I've done in the past. And I came across this one, and in the other video, I explained that I basically swatched the colors that I saw when I was in the Catskills. And I used reference photos that I had, but I wanted to capture kind of the moss and a lot of the stone formations and things like that. And so that inspired me to do the cover of this journal in the same way. And I also decided to take the Bristol paper out. It was just too bulky, and I've got plenty of drawing paper in here, and I have several sheets of watercolor paper. So I think what we're going to do, or at least what I'm going to do, is I'm going to take one of these pieces of hot press paper and I'm going to use it for the cover and the back. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did on these other sheets. And I'm going to use this is like a 1/4 inch masking tape that I found at a craft supply store in the drafting section. And I'm just going to make some random, you know, tape lines here, I guess. And nice thing is when you're doing this, you don't have to be exact. And you can also use the tape to tape it down to your surface, which is helpful. And maybe we go in all different, I want to go in all different directions here, right across the whole sheet. Okay, now that that's all taped down, we can start painting. And um, I pulled out a couple of palettes here because I wanted to go with kind of a beach color scheme. And these are made by Prima. And these are these little mini palettes, little half pans, and they're all color coordinated. So these are the colors in this one. And I thought it would be nice to offset this with something a little bit more pastel. Um, Actually, I wanted kind of like a sandy color, a brown color that would be a nice neutral that would go well with this. So I think what I'm going to do is wet this whole sheet, or I may just give it a spray. And speaking of that, I'm going to go ahead and spray my paints. I have no idea what I'm going to do because I haven't tried this out yet. So it could end up as a big mess or not. But I do know these are the colors that I want to use, and I'll give this a spray. And I don't think I want to work in each little area. I think I'm going to lay the paint on. I'm going to lay it on as just a whole piece and see what happens. So here we go. I'm going to start out, I think, with some darker blues. And I'm just going to use the colors that I already have going on this palette. And I hope you can see that. And this is all lifting because of the water that I sprayed. So, which is fine. And I'm going to keep the corners, I think a little bit on the darker side. So basically, I'm just throwing some colors on here. And I may add some salt. I'm not quite sure yet. Let's see what we can do for adding some of a little bit of a neutral brown. I'm not sure that I am totally in love with that color. It's mixing with the yellow. So maybe we'll add a little bit of blue to that. Yeah, that's not exactly what I wanted. So just added a little bit of pink into that, and hopefully that will work. Some of these colors that are in this pastel palette, they're a little bit opaque. I think they have white mixed into them. So that's going to give a little bit of a different feel. And I definitely want to get some of this blue in here because if anything reminds me of the beach, it's this color right here. So you could do one of these for every trip that you take. And for me, like I said, sometimes vacations are extremely hectic, and um, you don't actually get a whole lot of time to create. And then when you do, you're tired. So um, what I'm hoping with something like this is that I can not overwhelm myself and do a little bit of something like each day. Let's see what this looks like. And I think I want to add a little bit more of this color somewhere in here. And then maybe some of this. These really nice saturated kind of colors are really pretty. And I don't know about this citrus color. Okay. I don't even know if this is going to be the orientation that I use. We'll see when we pull the tape off. But I have some salt somewhere. Okay, so I found my bag of salt, which happened to be open and spilled everywhere. So um, I'm going to grab some of it from off my desk here and just start adding in, especially in the puddly area, start adding in some salt. And we can get a little bit of fun texture in here too. Now, my intention with this is not to do the same thing that we did in the intuitive exercise, where we went back in and found a little scene in each square. Although, if I get bored, maybe that's something that I might do. And I just wanted to create something that was kind of reflective of the trip that I'm going to be on. And the masking tape is going to give me some little spaces to write if that's what I want to do. And I'm going to give this a dry. And when I come back, we'll pull the tape off. Okay, so I think this is pretty dry, and I think it's safe to brush away the salt that's on here. And I really like the way that this came out. And I also love the texture from the salt. I think it came out really well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pull off all of the tape. And as I was drawing this, because it took a minute, um, I was thinking since it's hot press paper, we could very easily go over this maybe with some gel pens, a white gel pen, and it might be kind of fun to put some like seashells or something. What I like about the texture from the salt is that some of these look like sea creatures or seashells or bubbles. It would be cool too to take a pen, a really fine pen, and trace around some of these areas. I think that would look really neat too. So there's all sorts of ideas. Once you start doing something like this, um, the ideas just start automatically flowing. So, like I said before, I'm not exactly sure um, which side I'm going to be using for the cover and which one's going to be the back. But I don't think it really matters. Well, actually, it might, because if I start drawing seashells on here, I've got to get the orientation right. So, um, we did make a bit of a mess on the inside, and that's okay. Um, I think I like the other side better. So, I think it might be a good idea to get this stitched together first, and then we can start playing around with maybe a little bit of some doodles on here. And I'm thinking about adding in some text in the white spots. You could also do some doodles in all of the white spots. That would be really cute. That's something that I'm debating on doing. It would be cute to do some seashells or something in here, or some little wave shapes. I think let's go ahead and stitch this together. I'm going to grab some embroidery thread, and I'm not using bookbinding thread that's been waxed, and it's really not necessary. I'm going to find a color that goes well with the colors that I've painted the cover. Okay, so I picked out some thread that I thought would go really nicely, and I'm going to have mine tie on the outside. Um, because I think that would be really cute. So I've got some little binder clips to hold all of these pages together, and I'll just make life a little bit easier. And I'm going to go ahead and eyeball about center and use my awl to punch through all of them. And then I'm going to do about a little more than an inch. I'm just going to space these the way that I think they would look good and space them evenly. As evenly as I can without measuring. And just make sure that you've got a piece of cardboard or something so you don't go through a piece of furniture or your finger. It's my dog Maisie in the background. It's her job to bark at everything. I think that's what she thinks. So I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to do like 3 times the length of my book, roughly, and cut it. And I need to grab a needle. And I don't think that I'm going to separate this embroidery floss. I'm going to leave it all together. And we'll get this threaded. And like I said, I'm going to start in the center, and I'm going to start on the outside. So I'm going to go up. Let's try that again. We're going to go up through the center. And just make sure that you leave a tail, because this is what we're going to tie off with at the end. And then I'm going to go down. Then I'm going to go to the last hole over here. And then we're going to go back up through the center hole. And that's pretty much it. So we just want to make sure that everything is nice and snug. And it is. And we can go ahead and just tie this off in a knot, just a regular square knot. And then I am going to tie a little bow because that's going to be cute. Okay. So I'll trim this off. And I think what I'm going to do is add just a little drop of glue on top of that bow so that knot doesn't come undone. So I'll use this Eileen's tacky glue. And I think what I'd like to do actually is add this when I am all done with the front. That way it can dry and I don't have to wait for everything to dry before we start adding some little details onto the front. Okay, so I broke out some markers here, and these are all fine tipped markers. And a lot of these are just repeat colors. Some of these I got from a sketchbook subscription years ago. I don't even know if they're going to work yet or not. But I was looking at this, and it's funny because at the beginning of the video, I said that we weren't going to pick out, like, do this intuitive landscape thing and pick things out of the picture. But as I'm looking at these little blocks, I start seeing things that are related to the ocean. Like this could be a jellyfish very easily. And maybe this could be like an oyster shell. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of go with um, the theme here of what I've got already going. And I'm going to add in some little doodles and maybe some text. I'm not sure yet. Like I said, this is not planned out. Um, and I'm going to speed it up and I'll let you watch as I'm kind of going through the motions here. Okay, so now I have a bunch of supplies pulled out, and um, as far as this sketchbook goes, I know that I definitely want to take a white pencil with me so that I've got something that I can use to add highlights. So I've got a white colored pencil that I'll definitely be bringing with me. And for the watercolor paper, I'm not going to be doing really heavy washes, like, getting the paper saturated with water. So I'm going to be doing a lot of like probably line and wash type of drawings on my watercolor paper, which is one of the reasons I chose the hot press because it's got a smooth surface. So I have my micron pens and I really like working with the smaller tipped pens like the 005, and I've got a 003, and I'll probably bring maybe a 1 and a 3 and leave it at that. So I've got my micron pens, my white colored pencil, and for my watercolor, I bought this really nice, inexpensive um, watercolor palette that is meant for travel, and it's got magnets on it. And what you do is you take a binder clip, and it works a little bit better on a bigger notebook, or a bigger journal. So let's, which is what I used when I painted this, and we were outside and it was cold. But it's really nice because you can attach this, um, right to your page, and then you can just do your sketching and your washes and stuff. But I like this set because it's pretty much got the warm and cool version of all of the primaries, and then it has some neutrals and some greens. So, and it even has white. Um, and for this, I'll just be taking a variety of water brushes. I've got a small, medium, and a large. And these are really super handy on the plane and things like that. And even if I want to go sit on the beach, this will be super handy to have. I don't know how well it's going to attach to this. Maybe I can do it just like that. Yeah, I think that'll work. So that I can work on this side, you know. Um, and I'm sure I could even clip this to something else that I bring along. So that's the watercolor palette that I'm going to be taking with me. And I thought about taking some of these fine liner colored pens. I don't know if I want to. I love these pens because they're so it's got such a great fine tip. It's a 0.3 millimeter. And I wanted to show you these. These are called clutch pencils, and the leads on these are 2 millimeters, and you can see the brand name, and it comes as a whole set, and you get all sorts of leads. Um, so you get 2H, 2B, HB, and 4B, and then you get a set of colored leads. And so far, I have no complaints, and it was really inexpensive. I think the whole set was $10. And it also comes with, I wanted to show you this too real quick. It also comes with a sharpener. So when it gets dull, you can forward the lead a little bit and sharpen the tip. And I think this side might be a little bit deeper so that you can get more of a like a longer point. Yeah. So this is really cool. It's all self-contained. Um, and I like working with these pencils so far. So I might be bringing those to, I'm not sure. And I've also got some of these ballpoint pens that have all of the different colors, and I thought this would be a really great way, to be a substitute for this maybe, if I wanted some color. And I've got my matte pencils that I talked about. So I've got a HB, a 4B, and a 6B. I don't even think I need the 6B. I could get away with just doing like, I do want something that's going to be dark, which would be great. HB, 4B, and maybe I'll just leave it at that. I'll take those two. And I might bring a mechanical pencil because I like sketching with mechanical pencils as well. And I'm not quite sure what kind of lead I've got in here. It's probably something like an H or an HB. Um, I've got a couple of different mechanical pencils, and maybe I'll bring this one instead. So I've got a pencil sharpener because I need to be able to sharpen my white pencil. And I will be bringing other colored pencils as well because I will probably bring a different sketchbook with my animals to work on while I'm on vacation if I have a chance. And I would hate to leave it at home and then, maybe we're stuck inside on a rainy day or something like that. Who knows? Um, I also have my mono eraser. This is handy dandy to get into those tight spaces. I'm going to bring one paper stump. I don't think I need any more. I don't think I'm going to be doing any like super realistic sketching in here. Um, I've got a kneaded eraser. I think I already mentioned this pencil sharpener. I like this because it's self contained and it's got two different sizes. And I think this is Faber Castell, if I'm not mistaken. Um, doot, doot, doot. Yes, it is. So when I was on vacation in Tennessee a couple of years ago, actually, I think it was last year, we went to this little shop called I Go Tokyo, and it's an amazing gift shop. And they sell these little mini colored pencils, and it comes with a sharpener, and it comes with a little kneaded eraser. And I did an entire bird drawing with this purple pencil right here. It was a lot of fun, but you can see how quickly you would burn through these. But I might take these with me because they don't take up any room, and they work. So I love the little pencil sharpener. Um, so yeah, this is something that I'll probably be taking for sure, and it comes with its own little sleeve here. So so far, for sure, what I'm going to be taking are these things over here. And as you can see, it's not that much. All you need is a good bag. And if you're one of those people that prefers a hard case, save your tins from your art supplies. Like if you get colored pencils or pens or something like that, I have a ton of tins, and it makes a really nice travel case. But I have several different bags that I love, and both of these right here are from this same little boutique, I Go Tokyo, and it feels like there's something that's in here still. Um, and my mother made both of these, so I love these. That's probably, at max, I'm probably going to take like two different little pouches, keep my pencils in one and my pens and everything else in the other, and that would probably be it for my supplies. And I like things to be simple. I don't like to overcomplicate um, what I'm taking because it's too much and it's easy to get overwhelmed. So that's pretty much it for what I'm going to be taking. And when I come back, hopefully I'll have a sketchbook to show you that we can flip through together. And maybe we'll make some more of these too, because I really like this idea of just having a trip journal. So take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.